Hey, and welcome to Taking Trades. I'm Jimmy, and my channel is all about day trading, where I show my trades live without a subscription fee or without selling any courses. So welcome. If you're new, I encourage you to smack that subscribe button. Big news over the weekend was I picked up not one, but 2 subscribers. So I'm super excited about that, and also got 3 likes. So like I said, please smack that subscribe button if you like these videos, and give me a thumbs up if you feel I deserve it. Anyway, let's dive into today's trading day. Today is January 14th, 2019, and I actually got out of bed at 4:45 this morning so that I could grab a cup of coffee and start watching the natural gas futures right out of the gate. I wanted to see what the trend was going to be for the day, what direction the market was moving, and then from there I was going to make decisions on how I was going to trade the 2 ETF funds, Ugaz and Ugaz. Ugaz moves in the same direction as /NG, the natural gas futures, and Ugaz moves inversely. So when the natural gas fund /NG moves to the downside, Ugaz will move to the upside. So I wanted to see how things were looking this morning, what direction things were going to start off, and then hopefully jump in and take a small starter position and get rolling. While I was watching the market, I decided in today's video I wanted to talk about 3 things that you really need to be aware of when trading natural gas ETFs and watching /NG, the ticker for the natural gas fund, the futures. So the first of those 3 things are anytime you're trading Ugaz, Ugaz, or really any other ETF related to a commodity or futures fund, you want to make sure that you know the direction. You want to make sure that you're not being too micro-focused and only knowing the direction of the 1-minute chart or the 5-minute chart. You really want to make sure that you're looking at the larger time frames, that you're stepping back and getting above the forest, getting out of the trees and looking down on the whole scenario and saying, you know, what does the 20-day 1-hour chart look like? What does the 180-day 4-hour chart look like? What does the daily chart look like? And just step back and see the whole picture. And I'm gonna actually kind of do that here in a minute and show you what the big picture looks like so you can determine the direction of the stock. The second thing you need to really be aware of is wait until you get an opportunity at the bottom of the VWAP channel. So the VWAP, the volume weighted average price, you have a top band, a lower band, and a middle band. And when stocks push to the upper band, they're considered overbought. So they're looking for a pullback. When they migrate down and they get to the bottom band, they're considered oversold, and they're looking to possibly turn around and go the other direction. So it seems to increase my chances of success when I buy at the outer ends of the bands and not buy necessarily all the time in the middle. So an analogy I came up with, it's a little bit cheesy, but thinking about buying at the outer bands versus in the middle, or for example, the top band versus the bottom band. Let's say you are trading, say you're trading Ugaz today and it's trending upward and it starts to push up to the upper VWAP band and things are looking overbought, right? Looking like soon it might pull back. My analogy is, why would you buy there? Because if you do, it would be similar to if I asked you to walk on a balance beam, 20 feet on a balance beam, and I give you 2 options. You can walk on a balance beam that's 6 inches off the ground, or you can walk on another balance beam that's 40 feet off the ground. Which one would you choose? Probably the less riskier of the 2, right? The 6 inches off the ground. That balance beam would be the equivalent of buying at the bottom band. Low risk, because the chances are it's going to turn around and move up. If you buy at the top of the band, the very top, then you don't have as much room to go because it's unexplored, it's new territory. But you do know that you have a big downside that you can retrace and lose money on. So that would be your 40-foot balance beam. So that's kind of a weird analogy, but it kind of made sense in my head that, you know, the less risk, the shorter balance beam or lower to the ground balance beam would be just a safer option, because if you bought there and the stock reversed on you, there's not much difference between the bottom band. You know, you break the bottom band, you jump out. But if you're at the top band and it pulls back on you, you might talk yourself into keeping waiting, like, okay, maybe it'll go down a little bit. Okay, maybe it's gonna reverse now. Maybe we'll go a little further. And it never does, and then before you know it, you've retraced $5 per share and you're at the bottom band and you lose big. So that was just kind of an analogy I wanted to throw out there to try to help that make sense. It helped make sense for me. And then the last thing is, make sure that you're not afraid to take profit. You'll see in the video today, I think I had 50 cents per share gain, and I didn't take profits, and it retraced on me a little bit, and ultimately got out for less than, you know, was ideal. So if you do get a big push up, just because you may see traders that are doing this every day and are doing really well, you can see them hold a stock for a long time. They watch it pull back and push up, pull back and push up, and sometimes that's hard to sit through. So if your stock, you know, if you're trading Ugaz and you get a good push to the upside and you have profit, by all means, there's no shame in taking that. So don't ever worry about leaving money on the table. If you're green, and that's always better than red. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into the video. I'll show you my trade from today. I took one trade. It was on Ugaz. It was obviously a long position to the upside, and I did not buy it at the upper band. I chose to walk on the 6-inch high balance beam today. So anyway, feel free to leave comments, questions, concerns. Smack that subscribe button if you like, and I'd appreciate a thumbs up. Let's dive into the trade. Jump into this. So the first thing I wanted to do this morning was to show you guys. All right, so I told you in the intro video that I got up at about 4:45 or so this morning and started watching /NG and also watching Ugaz. So this morning, so let me bring up the 1-minute chart and I'll show you what I saw this morning. Okay, so roll back. So at 5 a.m., which is right here, I started watching /NG, which is the natural gas futures. So it started to push up right out of the gate, which was encouraging. I thought, okay, I'm going to probably be watching Ugaz today because Ugaz moves in the same direction as /NG. This one pulled back, pushed up, so we kind of got this high area, consolidated a little, broke up, had another high, pulled back a little bit, another high, higher low, higher high. So all this is looking great to me, and I'm thinking, okay, let me flip over and let's start watching Ugaz. So this is Ugaz here, and this is 5 a.m., this big circle, and I start watching it, and we're just kind of chopping along, not doing a whole lot, and then we start to set a little high, we go a little higher, and you can see kind of a higher high, a higher low, a higher high. And so when it got to this point where it finished sort of this downswing, and then from here we started to move back up, you can see we got this stronger candle here followed by a little pullback and then a move up. I was actually contemplating entering on these candles here. I circled them this morning. So those would have been about, and this is Mountain Standard Time, 6:22 and 6:30, right around there. Ultimately I didn't. I kind of hesitated and it pushed up. But what I was seeing on that was that at these points, if you look down here on the RSI, you can see we were getting lower. So in the intro video, this bottom band, this would be your 6-inch balance beam. This top band would be your 40-foot high balance beam. So buying down here is a lot less risky than buying up here. So I saw those, I kind of let it go. I just kept watching, was trying to get the trend. And as you kind of see in the pre-market, if I back out a little more, you can kind of see a gentle trending up into the open of the market. The spot where I absolutely should have jumped in was when we got this higher high, higher high, higher low, and then it sort of pulled back and touched the 180 simple moving average, 180-day simple moving average. And you can see that the bottom of this wick is higher than these lows. So technically a higher low. So if I would have entered here, and the other beautiful thing was the RSI was almost touching the bottom band, my really, really safe balance beam. I didn't enter, and it continued up. And what I did end up doing, though, was waiting for, and I'm actually going to show the trade. So, oh, that's weird. It didn't put the entry. Let's try that again. Ship trades. And I am using the TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform. And usually, okay, there we go. So here's what I was watching. So market opened, things were fantastic, right? So if I would have entered here, imagine at the open pushing up, coming back, consolidating, pushing up. So we're getting a higher high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low. It's working its way up. It's looking good. The direction is to the long side. So that first thing we talked about in the intro video, number one, knowing the direction. So in this case, we know the direction. And ultimately what I ended up doing was seeing this pullback. As it pulled back, I was watching the RSI, and you can see that we were starting to get close to the bottom band. So I decided I'm going to jump in with 50 shares and just take a starter position. So I got in at 57.03 with 50 shares, and let me go ahead and I missed the buy, so I apologize. I'm already in at 57.03. I'm down $1.50 here. But what happened was, after this happened and I got in, it pushed down even lower, down here into kind of the 55.87 area, 55.90. So I was down a little bit, but I kept telling myself, we're still not at the we're still at the bottom of the channel here, so we're oversold. So I'm looking for a pullback and a move to the long side. So I was just holding tight. I was comfortable with what I was down. This was acceptable to me, and I didn't feel like we had broken any major support levels or indicators that would have made me nervous. So as I kind of fast forward there, you can see it's now starting to push back up and bring my confidence back, and pushes up 56.75. I keep checking this /NG as we go through this to kind of keep referencing it. So I have it on two separate windows in Thinkorswim for TD Ameritrade. So if I pause this, for example, I can be watching Ugaz and say, oh, what's /NG doing right now? I just flip to another window and I've got it right here. So I can watch it and make sure that things are okay here, because they will directly impact my Ugaz trade here. So you saw the entry. After it entered, it pulled back, but here's the key. It was a starter size, 50 shares. If this would have been 1,000 shares, I wouldn't have been able to stomach this drop. That would have made me very nervous, and I'd have been down very big, and I probably would have stopped out. So because of my share size, I was able to carry it through this lull and back up here over this 15-day exponential moving average. Now typically you would add to your position as it crossed, but again, it just felt I'm kind of experimenting and just sort of trialing this new method of for me anyway, with my learning as far as buying at the bottom of the channel and then just holding for a lot longer than I'm used to. So I didn't add, and if I go back to the video, you can see that we're pulling down. Let's see here. So I'm checking /NG, just trying to see what we've got going here. Checking levels. You know what? 1 second. Okay. I apologize. Give me 1 second here. Oh, there we go. Okay. So let me explain real quick what's going on here. So I was watching /NG. So I bought, it dropped, now it's starting to come back. So I'm just double checking /NG to make sure things are good. They look good, so I put out an order here to sell. I put it at $58.04, which would have been $1.01 profit, which would have been a little over $50. So that was kind of my target. So I keep watching this thing, and what we get is a drop down. It's still kind of making me nervous. It's not ideal, but it's pushing down, but I keep watching this low. And if this sets a lower low, then that's going to start to really weigh heavily, and I'm going to really start thinking about, you know, is this now starting to turn over and trend down? But instead, we got a little doji candle, and we start moving back up, which keeps me in the game. And you can see that I pulled back here, lost money, was down, then it encouraged me to stay in by working back up. I put my order out, thought, okay, I'm just going to hang around and see if I can get to 58. I rode this whole thing up and over and topped out at 57.75, and then I didn't take my profit. Like I mentioned in the intro video, I was saying, don't be afraid. Like number 3 on our list we talked about, don't be afraid to take profit. As it pulled up here and it sort of just chopped on me and wasn't doing anything, I probably should have just taken my profit and called it good on this trade. But instead it pulled back down to this level, tested it, and started to work its way back up. So as it does this, making sure that /NG is also pushing up, but you can see it's below that 15-day average, which is making me a little bit uncomfortable with it. And then as we keep moving here, it starts to get kind of hung up below this 15-day moving average and then pushing back down. And ultimately you can see I'm starting to get a little upset about it. I don't want it to break my support level. I keep kind of hanging out, waiting. And it's also being just a little sluggish. And then it pushes up. So then I'm thinking, okay, things are good again. We can continue, right? We can keep watching this thing. And I'm wondering if I should just sell because it's pushing up, but it's kind of sluggish. It's not breaking this high. That would have been key. If it would break this level of 57.75, that would be a higher high. And then we might be moving to the long side again. So it was kind of encouraging, but then it would ultimately pull back down. And it just kept doing this over and over and over. And ultimately it was just kind of a painful, sluggish hold. And I realized that I think I was just caught in a consolidation. We were just kind of corkscrewing around and not really going anywhere. So I think I need to be more aware of, is this stock going somewhere? Is this ETF going up or down? And if it's not going either of those directions, then I have to say, okay, I'm chopping around and I'm just tolerating this churning, chopping action, which isn't doing any good other than just sort of wearing me out as far as, you know, is it going up, is it going down, and just questioning everything. Best to just get out, wait for it to declare direction, and go from there. And so you can see now I'm up 44 cents. It's pulling back down on me. And I'm getting nervous here mainly because this is a lower high than this. So it's starting to set lower highs, which tells me we might be in, it might be short term, but it could be long term, but it looks like it might be downtrending a little. So I tighten my stop there, my sell, and ultimately right there you can see that it got activated and I sold my position at 57.20. So it was a good trade. I should have taken profit at the top if I would have realized that I was in some churning, just corkscrewing action. So I got caught in consolidation and I had to get out. But I got out for $8.50 green. Green is good no matter what. It's not exciting, I understand that, but it's another green day. It's something to build on. It's more experience. And I would highly recommend that if you have time in the morning to get up and be up at the open for the futures market so that you can watch natural gas or gold or oil or whatever you want to watch and really get an idea for what the trend is in the pre-market. And then if you can find an entry point like this early in the morning, you know, you would hit, if I'd have hit this or this or this at $53, look what we ended up doing during the day. We consolidated and pushed up. You know, what if I'd have sold at $61? That's a huge gain. So anyway, hope you guys had a green day. Thank you to my 2 subscribers. I hope to pick up that 3rd. Feel free to smash that subscribe button and have a great day, and we'll be back at it tomorrow morning. Thank you.